Welcome to the Blood Moon Archives, home to real-life encounters of things that go bump in the night. These aren't just stories. These are true horrors that will haunt you long after the screen fades to black. So lock your doors, close the curtains, and keep those lights on. Let's get into it. Game night at Grandma's cabin. It started like any other Friday night. The kind of night where the air feels thinner than it should, and the hours stretch longer than they have a right to. We had gathered at Jenna's old place, her grandmother's house in the woods outside of town. The house was the kind with creaky floorboards and wallpaper that looked like it had absorbed the last century's worth of secrets. Me, Jenna, Chris, Emily, and Marcus, all in our early 20s, floating in that strange space between adolescence and actual adulthood, where everything still feels like a game, decided to stay in for a game night. I had always thought Ouija boards were just a gimmick, something sold in novelty shops next to fake vampire teeth and tarot cards, but Jenna found this one in her grandmother's attic, buried in a wooden chest beneath yellowing lace and an old fox fur stole. It didn't look like the plastic ones I'd seen before. The planchette was carved from dark wood and felt heavier than it should have. The board itself was old, the letters burned into the surface, the corners worn smooth. Jenna said she hadn't touched it until tonight. We lit candles, partly for the mood, partly because the house's electricity was unreliable. The wind pressed against the windows, rattling the panes in their frames, like they were trying to breathe. We gathered on the living room floor, forming a loose circle around the board. I wasn't nervous, not really, not at first. I rested 2 fingers lightly on the planchette, just like the others. We asked the usual questions at first. Is there anyone there? What's your name? Dumb, cliché stuff. For a while, nothing happened. Then the planchette moved. It was slow at first, like someone dragging it with just enough force to stir suspicion, but not certainty. We all glanced at each other, unsure. I could feel Marcus stiffen beside me, his breath catching just slightly. The planchette circled the board once, then slid to the word, yes. My fingers tingled. I told myself it was just nerves. It spelled out a name next, a D-E-L-I-N-E. None of us knew an Adeline. The board grew quiet for a few seconds. Then without warning, it began moving again. Faster this time. Hurt. Stay. Basement. Something shifted in the room. The candlelight flickered, but there was no draft. I felt cold. Not on my skin, but beneath it, like something had reached into me, with fingers made of frost. I could see from their faces that the others felt it too. But we stayed. That's the thing about fear. You don't always run. Sometimes you freeze. Sometimes you pretend nothing is happening. The board spelled out more words. Trapped, burned, wrong. I didn't understand. Not fully. But in the dim glow, I noticed something new. One of the picture frames on the wall had cracked, though none of us had touched it. Behind the glass was a photo of a girl, maybe 17 or 18, her eyes sharp and uncertain. I hadn't noticed her before. Neither had Jenna. When she picked up the photo, she went pale. "That's my grandmother," she whispered, though I remember swearing to myself that no one spoke. I just knew what she was thinking. Something in her expression said it all. We didn't ask more questions. We didn't need to. The planchette kept moving. It spelled out F-I-R-E over and over, until the letters blurred in my vision. I could smell something then. Smoke. Faint and sour, like burned fabric or hair. but the candles were still steady. The shadows, though, they danced too violently. I looked at the window and realized I couldn't see my own reflection. Just the room behind me, but darker, deeper. I swear there was a sixth shape in the reflection. Standing. Something crashed in the kitchen, a metallic clang like a pot thrown to the floor. We jumped, the board jolting with us. Chris stood first, probably to check, but the door slammed shut before he reached it. The house groaned around us, like it was remembering something. The air turned thick, heavy, and I couldn't breathe properly. My hands wouldn't move. The planchette began spinning now, faster than it should have. So fast it was a blur. Then the flames came. Not real ones, not yet. Just flashes in our eyes, in the corners of the room. The walls shimmered, turned black and then red, then back again. I saw the girl, Adeline, I think. Her face appeared in the wood grain of the floor, mouth open in a silent scream. The planchette stopped abruptly on the word run. So we did. We left everything behind, the board, the candles, even Jenna's phone, still playing low music from the floor. We ran into the woods, not stopping, until we reached the gravel road where our cars were parked. None of us said a word. There was nothing to say that wouldn't make us sound insane. Later, Jenna found out her grandmother had a sister. Her name was Adeline. She died in a house fire. This house, before it was rebuilt. Everyone thought she was lost in the blaze, but there were rumors she'd been locked in the basement. No one ever proved it. No one ever looked that hard. We never touched another Ouija board. I haven't spoken to the others in a while. Marcus moved across the country. Emily stopped returning texts. Chris deleted all his social media and disappeared. Jenna stays in touch, but only barely. She says she hears things sometimes, whispers through the vents, scratching from under the floorboards. I haven't slept well since that night. And sometimes, just sometimes, I see that sixth shadow when I'm alone, always in the corner of my eye, never quite close, but never quite gone. Well, you've heard the truth. But remember, not every story ends when the video does. Some stories follow you home, into the dark corners of your mind. If you've made it this far, you might